Welcome back to Think Like a Master, where I'm going to bring Grandmasters and super strong players to teach me how to become a titled player myself. The Isle of Wight Masters is not far, and I am not yet ready. This is part 2 of 3 of my masterclass on the Kalashnikov Sicilian with Grandmaster Daniel King. If you guys haven't seen part 1, I suggest you have a look at that, but you can also see this video individually. You can also find all of the information about Grandmaster Daniel King in the description of this video. The Kalashnikov is one of the most aggressive ways to play in the Open Sicilian. And even if you don't play this opening, you're still going to find a lot of value in the advice that Grandmaster King has to give. Without any further ado, let's get started.
Your name seems to be Moritz Otto here.
Yes. So
You've gone all German on me.
This was in Amsterdam with DGT boards, and they were having all kinds of issues with the names.
Okay. But we should say you didn't suddenly change your name to Moritz.
No.
You're still Pietro. Okay. So you're playing someone who's rated 1753. Okay.
Actually, that might be incorrect too. I think as we go through the game, I will remember because this is just a standard position. But once I recognize the game, I will be able to tell you what the actual rating was.
Yeah. Okay, so we should say that Bishop E7 is the move that I recommend in the course, in the book. And one of the reasons is that I don't want to be pinned. I want to play Knight F6, but I don't want to be pinned with Bishop G5. So this is basically the rationale. So if this is actually a Sveshnikov.
Yeah.
So this is a different kettle of fish, basically. So that's why Bishop E7 comes. And Knight D5 is one of the main moves. Knight F6, absolutely. So attacking both these, and your opponent took and played knight here, and you castled. Yup. So well remembered. So you weren't concerned about this pawn.
I mean, I was, but only because I didn't remember the full line. But I did remember that I was fine. I remembered from the book that basically here I'm supposed to castle and that there is a lot of activity. I couldn't remember what the activity was, but I was like, okay, I'll figure it out.
That's all you need to know in a sense. You can make it work as long as you know that it's acceptable to do this. So obviously there are two ways. Now I should mention to viewers that in the game White did not take this pawn, but actually it's great fun if they do. So for example, knight takes d6. I mean, this is actually very common, relatively common that White is able to take this pawn on d6. I mean, okay, I'm going to put you on the spot again, Pietro. What's Black's move here?
Oh, what's Black's move? Okay. So, well, I actually don't remember, but I am thinking a couple of moves. Either attacking the knight right away, or moving the queen to c7 to bring the rook.
Well, I suppose after either of those moves, then White would take on c8.
Yes, but then we just have a lot of activity, right?
True. Then there's c3.
Or
just to prevent the knight.
Is there a check?
No, not here.
No. Okay. Then I'm afraid I don't remember.
Okay, Bishop e6.
Bishop e6. Okay.
And then basically you want to play Queen c7 if possible, and obviously Rook d8.
Right. So we're taking it slow. Basically, the plan is correct, but we are just making sure that the knight cannot get away for free.
Yeah. When you say slow, actually it's pretty quick.
Okay.
I mean, I think basically it's easy to understand that Black has compensation here, because just look at who's ahead in development. Well,
no, absolutely.
Black.
Yeah. No. It's beautiful.
And White has all these pieces on the starting blocks, whereas Black is basically starting in the middle game, and White is still in the opening. So this is the issue. And likewise with In fact, queen takes d6. This is even more direct. You can actually play knight b4 here.
Yes.
And you have very decent compensation. So yeah, this is the point. So yeah, sorry, I'm digressing again. Bishop e2. Well, it's unpretentious, but it's interesting. You went for knight d4 straight away, and actually, I think it's a good reaction, just like in the previous game, because it can be good to take this bishop, basically. Okay, so castles. Now you played b5.
Yes.
And I think you achieve a very decent position, but I wonder whether, I don't know, it wouldn't have been my first thought. I think I would be tempted either to play again this move bishop e6 or take on e2 and bishop e6.
I remember in the game I hesitated a lot about how to move forward here, and I wasn't sure about b5 simply because I thought that this knight was coming back to d5. And I will say I don't remember exactly why I eventually decided to go for b5 anyway, but I figured that I always had some way to cover d5 basically.
Yeah. The reason I hesitate over b5 is that sometimes it can be very good to go for this minority attack, but sometimes it gives white the opportunity to hit you with a4.
Yes. Yes.
So I would prefer to just keep the option, but not to commit too soon.
Then in that case, like, why do we go b5 in lines? Like, for example, if I can just take it back to
Yeah, sure.
here, I remember that one of the main lines goes knight here and b5 and like this, right?
Yeah.
And isn't that the same problem?
I'm going to give you that really tedious answer again. It all depends. You have to be aware of that, and that's why very often the move is to play rook b8, which kind of preempts a4. I'm not going to say that b5 is a mistake, because in so many cases this minority attack is absolutely the way to play. It just all depends on the position. But let's go back to the game. It's just that I would just prefer not to. If I don't have to, then I prefer not to. And I would rather go with bishop e6. Now that knight is going to have to move anyway. You know, it must go to e3. It's not going to hang around here. So knight e3. You could even break with d5 here if you want to. Now, maybe this position is a bit too dry for you. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Actually, I think this could be all right because at this level, there's no such thing as a drawish position, basically.
Yeah. All I know is that black is absolutely not worse. I talk about this d5 break a lot. Liberation station, I call it.
Yes.
Because you can see that black's whole position has been freed, so the rooks are connected. You even control a little bit more of the center than white. I think it's about equal, but it's funny in this case. I probably would. Well, I would put my rooks in the middle, basically, and it's roughly level.
Yeah, we just have very easy playing from here.
Very easy. Yeah. So that's one possibility, and another possibility would be to take on e2, and again play bishop e6. To this, play this position. So this means there's a little bit more tension. And okay, you allow the knight into d5, but the bishop comes back here.
I think you call it the bishop bounce. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So sometimes it might go to b6, but actually what you're doing here is you're going f5.
Very nice.
So this is a very common way of playing. Now you have to look after the pawn on d6 here. So white has to really expand like this to make sure that the knight is covered. But you can see that the queen has been able to move to the king side. Now the rooks are split, but the rook isn't too bad on c6. This bishop covers lots of importance. Well, basically, it covers the knight, and this bishop is liberated to some extent. I can envisage the h-pawn marching.
Makes a lot
It's
of
roughly
sense.
level.
Yeah.
It's roughly level. It's just another way of playing. If you want to have, inject more tension in the position. But like I said, I don't think your move is bad. It's just I have just a slight qualm about this. Okay, so you play bishop e6 anyway. I guess you could play bishop e7 there as well. But I always like the bishop on e6. Somehow it feels so chunky, No, I think you're fine here. Absolutely fine. I'm kind of just pointing out another way to play.
No, for sure.
Now your next move, because I think this is, you've achieved a good position after the opening. But this next move I'm not sure about. Do you remember what you played, actually?
I think I do, actually. I went queen e7.
Yes. Now, with hindsight, would you like to suggest another move?
Yes, well, actually, I think I remember the move from my analysis. Basically, our play is on the queen side, so
Yes.
queen c7.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you've kind of said it yourself when you've played a6 and b5, so your queen really belongs on that side of the board. So let's play queen c7. It even gets an exclamation mark. I'm not sure where this is coming from. The exclamation. Is this your machine running, or is this me?
It might be an automatic, but it's the only annotation, so it might be yours.
Yeah, this is my annotation. Yeah, it's my exclam. Yeah, the queen belongs on the queen side. It's not a huge deal because, again, I think the way you played in the game was actually quite decent. But I like the queen on c7. I like the fact that I like it on c6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it on c6. Looking at the e-pawn. So it would be lovely if the queen is on c6 and we could perhaps provoke f3, because later on white's king could be a little bit weak.
I guess I got this clearly wrong idea that in the Kalashnikov, most of the times we are trying to play on the king side. And so my idea was, well, eventually I'm going to liberate with f5, and I want my queen to be able to go to this side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing is it doesn't stop you playing on the king side. But I think I've said in quite a lot of my videos that I think the move f7, f5 in the Kalashnikov and generally in the Sicilian should be given a public health warning. Remember, it actually weakens your own king.
Yes.
This is the issue, because suddenly you've only got 2 pawns in front of your king. Now, people play f5 and it feels like you're attacking and taking the initiative. And it might be the case for a few moves. But you've got to think long term, and actually it's in 10, 15, 20 moves time where suddenly there's a counter-attack and your king is just weaker. I'm not saying f5 is always bad. It isn't. And it could be you take the initiative. But you just have to be really careful. Mm-hmm. And in this case, you've already played b5, and now you might be switching to f5. So, where are you playing? Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
Whereas here, I mean, at the moment, white cannot play a4, so there's bishop b3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you play the queen to c6, well, white at some moment is going to have to do something about the pawn on a2. Right. Now, if it moves to a3, what's the drawback there?
It weakens all of the light squares, so I believe we can basically just place our bishop on b3.
Precisely. Yeah. So, I mean, you've really crippled those 3 pawns.
Mm-hmm.
It might be you just put a pawn on a4.
Yeah.
Play the bishop to b3, put a pawn on a4, and, well, then you might turn to the king side. That's the funny thing.
Yes, because we've kind of shut the queen side down. Like
exactly.
There's no way for white to do anything there.
Yeah. And if they play, well, at the moment, yeah, b3 is sort of possible because d6 is on prise. But after queen c6, you might follow up with a5, a4.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just show that actually. So b3. Now, at the moment, well, let's just say it's equal, roughly. So, okay, what if black wants more? Well, okay, I'm going to start with, let's say, queen c6. So what does white play in response?
Maybe rook a c1.
No, this is on.
Oh, right. Then f3.
Yeah, let's say f3. Okay. Now already you can play d5.
Uh-huh.
And, well, I'm not saying black is better, but it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we should we could keep more tension. So let's play a5. I'd really like to do some work on the queen side. Okay, so let's say rook c1, yeah? Okay, should we keep going?
Yeah.
What you play? You play with black.
I would say a4.
Let's do this. So, what does white do about that?
Well, b4 is extremely weakening. The bishop will forever live on c4.
Exactly.
So, and if they take, the a rook is amazing. Yeah.
Split pawns, dreadful. Yeah.
And if they don't take, we're going to take ourselves, and basically we have a... Well, actually, we win a pawn if they don't do anything.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So how should white react here?
Wait, is c4 a move here?
C4 could be a move. That's true. Yeah, you could play C4.
Otherwise...
Well, then, yeah, otherwise, go on.
Otherwise, maybe you have to bring either the queen or one of the rooks to the defense of the b pawn.
Yeah, let's say queen b2. I mean, it's not a beautiful square, but it sometimes needs must. Yeah, then, white is kind of holding the position, but I'm sure the queen isn't very happy about being consigned to the defense of this measly pawn.
Mm-hmm.
But also in this position, well, there's a very easy follow-up for black. How do you follow up here?
Ooh, let's see. Well, I don't think that a3 is the idea. We're basically helping white solve the issues. If we take the pawn, so a takes, we can then maybe double up the rooks on the a file.
Okay, you can maybe do this in a better way.
Oh, okay. Maybe we double the rooks without taking.
Of course.
I see, because so, if they ever do something about the pawns, that's worse for them.
Okay, so for example, if you do this and play rook a6, then okay, that's an easy counter, right?
Yeah.
But if you play rook a6 first, sorry, that was a mouse thing.
Yeah.
You play rook a6 first, and then you double. Okay, then there's a problem.
Very interesting. Yes.
Okay, this is standard strategy, of course.
Well, not for me, I suppose.
No, for you two, for all of us. So this is really interesting. I mean, you're right. C4 is possible. And in fact, this may be white's best way of equalizing the position.
Mm-hmm.
If black wants a draw here, of course, we could take everything. Well, okay, black is not going to lose this position.
Yeah.
But actually, even here, you can play this one on. I mean, listen, it should just be a draw. But
yeah,
if we did something like this and tempt this, and okay, you never know. On a good day, you might. It's a nice blockade. But actually, I would want to keep my rook on the open file. But actually, I think black has possibilities to get more here. How could you try for more in this position? I mean, I think it's probably just equal, but let's try.
I do wonder if maybe now this will insult your understanding of chess, but is b4 something here?
b4?
Yeah. No? Okay.
Do you want to explain that one to me?
Well, basically, I'm keeping open the option of taking here. Like, if white ever takes, it's horrible. Yes. I am preventing white from opening up this, like this, and taking. And, I mean, this realistically can... Well, I suppose it can come here. Oops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's c5, d5.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, b4, put it on the board. Okay. Seems to me that this could be... No, not c5.
Oh, okay.
I in some ways I like this because now you can take and play rook a3.
Right.
My only qualm is that queen d2 could be an issue.
Yes.
I should say to our viewers, we're not using an engine, of course. So probably we're making blunders all the time. Don't check it. I'm trying to discuss the ideas, guys. So forgive us if we start making some terrible moves.
Maybe there was a pawn hanging for the last 10 moves.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. But yeah, I think maybe queen d2 is an issue.
Mm-hmm. So okay, let me try something else then. Because you were asking how can we keep the tension, right?
Yeah. Like I said, we could just swap everything and it looks about equal.
Yes. Do something about this rook. Although, I mean, this is always kind of a problem.
Sure.
So,
Actually, I realize I'm probably, yeah, I think I'm just blundering. No, 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 no.
is this it?
No, because I think it's possible just to take on b5. No, here's my idea. Okay, so this, as I've said, it is absolutely acceptable for black, and maybe not rook c8, but maybe rook a4. Force this one, and at least black has a nice active rook on these files, and I mean I like these. I like the battery here. This is really good. And you never know. On a good day, we might get something going here. I don't know, but it's probably just about equal. But if we play instead, if we take here first and play a3.
Right.
Please
Yes.
tell me I'm not blundering something.
No, I'm just wondering because you see, like in a game, I believe I would be hesitant to take here just because I would be worried. Never mind. Never mind. I was going to suggest rook takes. Forget about it. Forget about it. I would have forgotten about the bishop. Yeah. No. Okay. Which is why I wasn't considering this seriously. Just a blind spot, I suppose. And now
Yeah.
with the split pawns, this makes sense. Yeah.
So now a3, because obviously with the bishop on e6, then this one is a potential target.
Yes.
So if white wants to get rid of this pawn, which is isolated, then what's behind it?
Yeah, this is very nice actually.
Well, do you know what? I'm not going to claim too much here. I suspect that white is absolutely fine here. If this is targeted, I don't know. I just have a feeling this should be equal. But it's very hard to say definitively if black has something here. All I'm pointing out is that there are ways to keep the tension and try to squeeze something from the position.
For sure.
And I repeat, this is what I like about the Kalashnikov, that actually you can play it in different ways. So in your first game, we saw that actually there was a possibility to take the initiative on the king side in a really dangerous way. Here, it's a completely different story. I want to keep my pawns here. I want to keep my f pawn and f7 to protect the king. This time, we're just kind of massaging on the queen side, we're working away and trying to find our way in.
Well, I guess
interesting position.
The only thing I don't understand about not wanting to move f5 is the fact that I usually consider whether f5 is dangerous or not based on whether white can somehow exploit this diagonal. And since there's no light square bishop on the board for white, and actually we even have our own still, I thought that this would be just very safe.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, like I said before, like 10, 20 moves time.
Right.
I think you have to think, what are the potential benefits of playing this? Well, white is so solid on the king side. You're not going to be able to make any kind of breakthrough there. I suppose the only benefit is that it's after you get this in, you're more likely to achieve d5. But once you get in d5, do you see how this pawn is a little bit weaker?
Yeah. Wow.
So I would not be looking to play f5. It's on the queen side where I think that black can still work away, basically.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, I feel like I'm really deepening my understanding of how I should approach my plan making in these Kalashnikovs. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite subtle. The problem is, I always feel like giving a disclaimer after saying this kind of thing, because as I always say, it all depends on the position. Sometimes it's right to go king side, sometimes queen side.
Yeah.
But I want to emphasize a few things about the Kalashnikov, is that black's structure is really sound. It's the safe king, it's the control in the center. And I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't like the backward d pawn. Actually, that backward d pawn gives the e5 pawn stability. It carves out territory in the center. It also gives you sometimes the possibility to break and gives you more control in the center. In fact, it allows black to control the center because you have more pawns in the center. So structurally, I really like it, actually. Yeah, somehow you got... I just want to actually... I want to show this because you did... So he did break with a4.
Yes.
And you went for this f5 move.
Yes.
But I think what's interesting is that, I mean, I think you can see that actually you don't really benefit from playing f5.
And actually now I lose the pawn and
Yeah.
I got outplayed.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I think, as we can see, that basically you got stretched here. You know, your queen was on the wrong side of the board. It's not actually attacking on the king side. And he broke with a4 and managed to attack d6 and a6. So that was the issue, basically.